uno. That was going to happen. Just go right back welding it. I know what I can use. Who doesn't like good old Harbor Freight? I don't think that's going to work either. Small ones aren't going to hold it. You don't have a profile clamp small enough to get up in there. I'm going to have to just hold it and tack roll it. Tell you what, one of the best modifications I did recently on my welder was purchase a 13-foot torch lead. Not only is it a little bit more of a commercial unit, it reaches a lot farther than the factory 10-foot. Tell you what, this time, yesterday, I felt so much more accomplished than I do today. Modified the upper cross member already, and I got to be careful. I'm kind of mocking up the bags right now. My drop downs are not going to work, which I'm not surprised. So because of the offset in the rear, you know, this rear end is not like it's obviously centered, but not. So I have 2 inches less axle tube on the left side as I do the right side. So it's already kind of screwing me up as far as where I want to put the bag mounts. And this is an uncommon setup anyway, because the 4-link's not in. There's no crazy bend work. I don't have enough space to do it on top the axle. So I'm doing a rear underslung for the rear bags. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to probably cut this and then get another chunk of 2x3 tubing that I have and then put a cross member back here and connect it here and here, since my axle tubes are different on both sides. And that'll still give me open space to be able to service the rear if need be. And allow me to accomplish what I need, and then it will still give me the area that I need to do the shock mounts as well. I actually think I'm going to do the shock mount probably on the side if I can sneak it sneak it in here maybe to the frame and down to the bottom cross member. My I don't know what you would consider it, my OCD, where my brain's playing games on me because of how the rear looks in the back. It doesn't look like it's centered. So the bag placement doesn't look like it's centered, and it's kind of bothering me. There's nothing I can really do about that. And just because of the looks, it made me measure it a couple times just to make sure that it was where it needed to be. And as far as clearance in the fender wells, I'm even on both sides. So it's time to build on. But that's my plan. I'm going to cut this in half. I'm going to cut the circle off. Use one for either side. Get a chunk of 2x3, use it as the cross member, get everything tacked together. Part of me feels like I should be able to bolt in the bottom cross member, bolt in and bolt out the bottom cross member. As if I drill holes. What's up, dude, with wrenches, man? I'm trying. At the moment, you caught me just kind of thinking out loud. I'm working on that dually, the 3500 dually project. Modified the cross member this morning. I just got the bags kind of temporarily tacked up into position. And I'm just kind of steaming for the afternoon. My original underslung brackets aren't going to work. I really want to weld everything together. But with that cross member going across the bottom here, it's really going to make, if anything ever has to happen with the rear as far as popping this pan off, it's really going to make it complicated. So I can use the bracket. I can bolt the cross member on. Weld the axle tube, weld the axle bracket on. Bolt the cross member in. Weld the circle brackets on behind. It's way more involved than I anticipated. But another reason why I'm trying to do it like this is I'm trying to put the bags in the best possible position. So this way here, when he decides, if and when he decides to 4-link this truck, which is something that we have talked about, this way here, when that time comes, if and when it does, the bags and everything else, air management, the airbags and all that crap will already be done, and we'll just 4-link it whenever he's ready to. So the bag placement here is going to work regardless whether it's leaf springs or 4-link. And honestly, once this thing's together, I don't think he's going to 4-link it because this thing is going to be low. And then the airbags are going to bring it up to his ride height that he wants. So it's one of them things where if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of thing. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It's going to ride really stiff in the rear, but it'll be a heavy tow pig if he ever wants to put anything on it. They compress down to a 5-inch minimum or maximum, whatever you want to say. These have the internal bump stops in them. I guess I could mount here and then come sideways. And have shock mounts here. I feel like the shocks need to be farther on the outside though. Probably angle them in. No, here. That's another thing I need to do too is I need to look into what shocks I'm going to run for the rear. This axle tube is way tucked up in here. Way up here. You guys have no idea how much it bothers me looking at the freaking axle tubes and how much of an offset there is in the axle tubes. And of course, all the while, making it plenty strong enough, I have to make it cool too. Something when somebody looks at it and says, wow, I've never seen that before. That looks really cool. I'm kind of really leaning toward just doing a cross member. I think it will give me some added flexibility, plus it'll kind of make it look, it'll kind of pull your eye from some of the oddity of looking at the axle tube. It'll kind of make it look like it's more centered. Put the cross member on. I'll fab in the cross member real quick. Bolt the cross member in and then bring my axle brackets to it. With the big circle plate, and then I can cut a tube and then box it in. Still have access to the bolts, nice and strong. Bolt on the bottom cross member. Put the plates on either side so that way I can bolt it on. And then worry about my axle brackets. Bring my axle brackets to it. Drill the holes, bolt everything up. And then figure out how I want to support it. I think I might have to make a bracket that bolts to the back of the pumpkin down to it to add some extra support. There's 2 1/4-inch plates on either side out here. Isn't enough structure for me. How does all that sound to you guys? I do a lot of talking to myself, everybody. I always talk it out a few times, process through it, try to envision what it's going to be at the end, to try to limit how many times I do it, but it never fails. I always wind up doing everything twice anyway. And then get a cup, cut the tubing, weld it, add strength to that. It'll look good. It'll be strong enough. I still got to make sure I can get the upper cross member out with the brackets I had welded to it. As far as the location, I'm doing a rear underslung, behind underslung bracket setup. There's not enough room to do on top the axle without doing a whole bunch of modification to the bed and adding like a C-notch up inside the bed. And the goal with the build is to the goal is to leave the bed untouched, uncut, and fully functional as an 8-foot bed. And it is not body dropped, no. I got the air tank mounted in the back. Let's see, I dropped it down using the hitch bolts. I incorporated it to the hitch down here. It's not welded or cut into the hitch. I didn't want to modify or drill into the hitch at all because I didn't want to, mess with the integrity of that. Not that it would have kind of messed it up, but if there was ever an issue with it, this way here they can say it's not been modified by me. So the hitch hasn't been touched, but what I did do was utilize one of the bolts and drop down my bracket and then use 1x2 tubing. And then did my mounts for the tank, and then mounted the tank right in the back. And then there's going to be another cross member that I have already done outside, but utilizing the bolts in the frame, I put another cross member in the back, and I have two Viair compressors, 444C compressors mounted to it that will be back here feeding the tank. And then I'm going to mount, we're using an Airlift 3H air management system. So I'm going to run the manifold system up underneath the cab for a little added protection from all the debris back here. And then I'm going to put a skid plate covering this and a skid plate covering the air manifold system. So then I'll just run a line from the tank up to the manifold. Joshua, the answer is no. The leaf springs are going to stay as the axle placement. We are not getting involved with doing a 4-link and or triangulated 4-link or cantilever or any of that. It's a little bit of an oddity for this, but that's what we're doing. This truck had been originally static, dropped like a 5.7. It had the flip kit in the rear, and then 3-inch drop spindles with 2-inch coil springs. So it came into the shop extremely low, obviously over stock. Since then, I've put 2-inch drop shackles on the rear to bring the rear of the truck down even lower. I gotta sneeze again. And then what we're doing is we're bringing the truck all the way down to the lowest point and then going to use the airbags to ride it back up to give him the ride height that he wants. And then obviously he will have the low aspect already taken care of. I always try to give the people watching the time of day when they ask questions or have concerns or ideas. Same thing with the people that comment on all my videos. I try and take the time to make sure I respond to all of the comments, and I'm at like a 95% 95% return rate. I can't get them all, but I try my best. Even the haters get a response. So I appreciate you stopping in, saying hello, and asking whatever questions. I will do my best to answer them. And if I can't answer them, maybe somebody within the chat can. I've got a lot of good people that follow along on a regular basis. It's coming to me. It's coming to me slowly but surely, everybody. It takes time. I probably spent 2 hours the other day looking at the cross member for my air tank setup for me to finally figure out what the heck I wanted to do and how I wanted to make it. Remember, custom doesn't come in a box. Enough laying around underneath the truck for a while. I think I got a plan.